Right, and I was telling my head coach about it, and I said, it's kind of groundbreaking. And he's like, how is attacking with numbers groundbreaking? And it's like this. It's not the idea of attacking with numbers. It's letting attacking numbers advantages being your first priority. That's a little bit groundbreaking. And I guess, again, that's not something that none of us have thought of. But the statistics behind it, that he ran all this data, look at the advantage of attacking with numbers priorities. What if that was our priority, right? Listen, you get to coach however you want. I've always said, it's like every time you make a decision, you get to choose between 10 right ways to do this. This is another right way. Attacking with numbers advantage being your number one priority, meaning, yeah, we could possibly not go to our best player the whole game. If they're going to play with a numbers advantage and give us a numbers advantage somewhere else, we're going to play that as our priority. Welcome everybody, and a happy Friday to you. I'm in a good mood today. It's a beautiful day. I had a good morning. A little sad side note. Happy sad. My daughter is going into high school now, and she had her first day of freshman cross-country practice. Now, she's not a great runner, but she is a great teammate. I mean, one of the best teammates of all time. She loves being a part of it, and she's staying in shape, and she keeps getting faster. I wouldn't put it past her to turn into a pretty doggone good runner by the time she's a senior. But you have those guys in your football program too, right? Those freshmen. Listen, I have a special place in my heart for those freshmen, those little squirts, sometimes the big dudes, because I was a little itty bitty squirt as a freshman. I wasn't someone you would have been excited about, but I grew up and I grew into a player that could have helped, I would say, most high school teams. So those people that are like, don't come in as superstars, they always have a special place in my heart. Let's watch some film. How about that, huh? It is Film Friday after all. And today's film comes from Tommy Denison, the OC at York University in Toronto, Canada. So look at this. Here we go. Follow him on Twitter. Here he is, at Tommy Denison4. Also very active on Instagram, and I found this, a lot of the Canadian coaches are much more active on Instagram than they are on Twitter. So a little side note for you there. But Tommy Denison did for me it was an eye-opener. His presentation that he did for a home clinic on our YouTube channel the other day, look it up, was about attacking with numbers advantages, right? And so right, and I was telling my head coach about it, and I said, it's kind of groundbreaking. And he's like, how is attacking with numbers groundbreaking? And it's like this. It's not the idea of attacking with numbers. It's letting attacking numbers advantages being your first priority. That's a little bit groundbreaking. And I guess, again, that's not something that none of us have thought of. But the statistics behind it, that he ran all this data, look at the advantage of attacking with numbers priorities. What if that was our priority, right? Listen, you get to coach however you want. I've always said, it's like every time you make a decision, you get to choose between 10 right ways to do this. This is another right way. Attacking with numbers advantage being your number one priority, meaning, yeah, we could possibly not go to our best player the whole game. If they're going to play with a numbers advantage and give us a numbers advantage somewhere else, we're going to play that as our priority. It was pretty awesome stats. You got to look at the data. The data behind it's pretty powerful. I encourage you to check out that video. Maybe I'll link it somewhere in here, maybe down below, and you can go check that out. But nonetheless, he was the OC. Let's look at where York University. So here's York University. There's a stadium there. It got like this huge grandstand on one side. Remember, we got our Canadian football fields are quite large, but York University here in Toronto, so there's where Toronto is in case you didn't know, right? Switch the map view. So they're in Toronto. A year ago, he was at Toronto as the OC at Toronto University, or is it University of Toronto? I'm not sure. But let's go ahead and watch some film. We don't have it on Huddle because for some reason, maybe this is how all colleges are, Most Canadian universities are on DSV. And I'm curious about DSV, what the prices are on DSV. But he had to just share this with me via email. And I'm looking at 20 consecutive plays. Now, I don't know if that's going to be just 20 consecutive offensive plays, but 20 consecutive plays. And then here in about 10 minutes, Coach Denison's going to join us to talk a little football. Now, again, what I'm looking for first is saying, hey, here they are, they spread out, they're gonna go, where is our numbers advantage, right? So here they are in 3x2. And again, it's Canadian football. We got one extra defender on the field. And where are they gonna determine as their advantage? That's what I wanna know, right? They're playing with 2 out here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so where's their number advantage? I gotta believe they're not looking at this and thinking that the numbers advantage is in the box. And they have not capped out here with another man. So are they looking at this as a number advantage? This is 2-on-2. How nosy can this guy get? I can't believe they're looking in here as a number advantage. That's 5-on-5 with a 2 more stacked in. I have to believe, yep, they're gonna push this man out and they're gonna attack this numbers advantage over here, which they like. Now this was interesting because Coach had told me, hey, listen, we have a plan to attack with numbers advantages, but sometimes life just happens, right? They get pressure, my quarterback has to scramble, and that's where when he has to scramble, if something goes wrong, they're not gonna count that one. If this quarterback were to pick this up and scramble straight ahead, they would have said, and statistically speaking, we didn't attack a numbers advantage in that one. We had a plan to, and you can see right here, they go, we have a numbers advantage out here. We're gonna push this back out here to this side. And when we push this back out here to this side, that's gonna give us a 3-on-3 out here. We like those numbers, okay? So they like the numbers out here. That's their number one advantage, statistical advantage. Let's attack the numbers. All right, so that one turns into scramble, doesn't work out. You can see there, this is one of the huge advantages that and it's not that I'm tempted to go no huddle. I want to eventually be no huddle. I want to. But there's so many intricacies of calling in your plays and being able to be, okay, so for me, it's the tags. I love having a simple amount of plays, but a lot of tags. And I have struggled to find a really good way to communicate that I'm comfortable with. I have seen a lot of good ways to communicate no huddle stuff. I've seen them, I'm watching them happen. I'm in a system right now where we're no huddle and I like it. But as far as like what I like to do currently, offensively. Again, I say currently because I'm very aware in a year I could like something else. Currently, the way I prefer to attack, I'm a little too attached to tags and I haven't found a way I'm comfortable with yet. I'm gonna find it because I think being no huddle is an advantage because you can attack numbers. And again, Coach Denison has really impacted me in this advantage of attacking with numbers, right? That different motion, listen, going forward at motion, which I learned, it's called spike motion. Spike motion running at the line of scrimmage. Takes a little bit for me to get used to. But now here they are in 3x3, okay? So it's empty. And Coach Denison in his presentation talked a lot about their best formations. What are our best formations? Those are the formations we're gonna be in the most, meaning these are the formations that provide the most amount of conflict for defense. And so they're gonna just live in just a couple formations, right? They're not gonna take time to learn the advantages out of 50 formations. For them, it's really 3, right? Now you might have some wrinkles in your system, but they've got 3 formations they want to run, okay? And 3x3, empty, being one of them, okay? So they're gonna look out here and find numbers advantages, okay? So for me, and again, I could be wrong. I'm sure they have some things that override, but from what I've been educated on his system, their numbers advantage is sitting out here to this side, right? 3 men against 1, 2, 3 and this side just looks a little more crowded. Number one, it's into the boundary and they're defending it with the same number of people. Let's see if they say, okay, we know we're gonna go out here. The question is, what are we gonna attack with out here? 2 guys going spike motion, and sure enough, you can see they look out here, okay? They look out here. Now here's 2 plays in a row where they're really just kind of scrambling, running for their life. I'm sure not what they wanted. I'm curious to know what they wanted out here. okay? But you can see 2 times in a row, find numbers advantage, run something to there. For some reason, they didn't like it. I'm assuming that they're in a situation where Coach Denison is going, listen, we have what we wanted. This is what we wanted. We planned for this double in, you hit the second in, and we take our 5-yard gain and go, right? Now this is Canadian football, which means there's only 3 downs. So now here they are, 3rd and 10, probably in a situation where they're gonna need to punt. Curious about this too. Notice how they're in 3-point stances, except for this one guy here, number 63, he's in a 3-point stance. I wonder do any of you guys do that? Do any of you guys, is your stance consistent? How many of you do, my left side of my line has this hand down and my right side of my line has this hand down? How many of you guys do that? How is it certain guys can go in certain stances based off body type, what they're capable of? For me, I'm obviously a 3-point stance guy because we're running all the time. We want to be downhill. But for us, I've been, what we've ended up going to, we've had a lot of discussion about this over the years, but we want to have the most comfortable hand down. We want to teach a very good stance, right? We're usually going to go toe to instep, shoulder width apart, good Z's in the knees, good bend. We'd like a flat back. We'd like your eyes up, but we want your weight forward and want most comfortable hand down, right? Now, you base it off which hand you like down, or you might base it off which foot you like forward, but obviously that opposite foot's gonna be forward. That's the world we live in, right? I'm curious to know how many of you are is your priority which side they're on, what the position is, the stance fits the position, or is it the stance fits the kid? That's my question. Is it stance fits position or stance fits kid? Comment below. Please let me know. Give me some feedback. What do you guys like to do? I like hearing from you. I like hearing what other guys do, right? Because I don't know that anyone is wrong. All right, so looks like we're just 20 consecutive offensive clips. So drive number 1, nothing doing. Nothing going. They wanted to attack numbers twice, but they weren't able to get anything going. Here they go, 3x2 again with the back to the boundary. I like our numbers out here. What do you guys think? I got 3 to the boundary against their 2. Now, I don't know that they have a safety back here that I can't see. I can't imagine they do. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they got 12 on the field. So that's just funny. I have to count right now because 12, I'm not used to looking for 12. I can recognize 11 pretty fast, right? Boom, you can recognize it. But I don't have the habits of recognizing 12, so I have to count that out. I see a numbers advantage here to the boundary. Do you guys see the same thing? I have to believe they're looking at this going, hey, if our number 1 priority is numbers, then we got them to the boundary. 2 guys spike motion. Sure enough, they look to the boundary and they take it. See, I like this. I like this idea. What I love about this is it's predictable. It's right. Okay, you might listen to that and think that that's a bad thing. I like that. See, that's learnable for my kids. That's learnable. I can buy into that. I can get excited about that. And the other thing, the last piece of the puzzle is this. I can troubleshoot that. I know what my plan is, so therefore, when it doesn't work, I can troubleshoot it. The troubleshooting could be indecision from a kid. Hey, we had what we wanted, you must trust it, we gotta go there. Or whatever the troubleshooting is, we can troubleshoot that and we gotta have answers to that. That's what I love about offensive plans that are predictable. You can troubleshoot them. My fear and what I don't understand yet, I don't wanna say they're wrong. I wanna say what I don't understand yet is people that are so multiple, I don't know how to keep track of it. It could be that their brains they do work at a higher level than mine. I'm very aware that there are people whose brains work and operate quicker than mine can. Maybe that's what it takes. Maybe it's that my brain's simply not capable. And some people's brains are capable of processing that much information that fast. I just wonder, when you are that multiple, how are you not at some point really just kind of guessing? But again, that's another good option of how to attack, is saying, I'm not guessing, I've put a good plan out the week before, and I'm gonna roll all these things out in my script, right? That first drive, 2 drives of the game, roll them out, and now I've got the rest of the game to figure out, look at film or process or take the intel that I've gotten and say, what of those were best matchups for us today? So it's just a matter of picking what style, just kick my tripod, that you like, right? So look at that, they go 2 into spike motion, they got the numbers out here, and then that's just players in conflict, right? An RPO, show, run, throw this little stick route, the little hook right behind it. I love that. That's one of our best pass combos in the wing T. Just this little, take your Y, your closest receiver, a good bodied kid, settle into the hole right here. I like this. I think this might have been an actual RPO. And here's why I'm thinking this could be an RPO. Just at first glance, now I haven't watched 51's footwork yet. 51, right guard right here. When just a second ago, I looked and he looked to be downfield. He looked to be chasing downfield. So this may have been, no, that's a pass set. That's a pass set. Okay, so I don't see RPO here. I see true play action. I'm gonna show, hit this hitch up here. Okay, so now, second and, oh no, that was a first down. That was a first down. Let's see if we can find our numbers advantage here. If we're gonna say numbers is our first priority, they are in 3x2 again with this back to the boundary, so that's a big numbers advantage here. They are 3 over me here, plus a backer right here. Out here to the 2, they got 2 over, plus that. I see, again, I'm not as versed in this as they are, so I kind of feel like our numbers advantage might still be down here because of the presence of this back to the boundary too. That's what I'm seeing. Are you guys seeing the same thing? Let's see what they like. 2 spike motions here, and they like that to the boundary. Do you consider that boundary? You consider that box attack? Dude, they're making a living off this concept right now. Show play action, 10-yard hitch. Right there, that play right there, I'm gonna have to talk to. So on my staff right now, I talk to my head coach a little bit about offense. You know, I don't think he really hears me. He sees me as a defensive guy, which I get it. Like, we're spread. I've lived my head coaching career in a wing T. I think he's like, yeah, I get it. Those are wing T thoughts. But this really reminds me of our number 1 stick mover in our wing T was this 10-yard hitch from our Y. It's too easy. It was our best stick mover at the freshman level, at the JV level, at the varsity level, when we had to have it. Play action, 10-yard hitch. It is such easy money because you're threatening, you're sitting it up behind an inside linebacker. And what inside linebacker doesn't have to honor this inside run attack, right? I mean, who doesn't have to honor that? They have to. It's such easy money. I've got it. Now, the reason I said my head coach, I need to tell him, hey, we got to do this, right? Now, he might not hear me. He probably hears me, and there might be some other reason why we didn't run it much last year. We need this. This is easy money, and this is, not only is it easy money, but it's necessary because it holds this inside linebacker accountable, right? Like, we want to run here, therefore we need to threaten here too. We gotta do it. Gotta do it. It's gotta be done. I gotta have the guts to tell my head coach that, right? I think that, I wonder, I've spent a lot of time about that. After being a head coach for so long and spending a lot of time with assistants, a lot of times worrying about assistants, like I want them to be happy, but I need them to be loyal too, rather than I need this. I've always said I want to be a good assistant. What is a good assistant? Well, part of it is, yes, agreeing and doing what that head coach wants. But part of being a good assistant is too, it's not just you want to be a yes man. You want to say, yes, I'll do this for you. But you also need to be, I think a coach needs brains around that are holding you accountable to saying, oh, hey, we might be missing this little key essential part of a good program right now. You know, how can I help us with this? We're missing this little key part. Little reminders. Hey, this is a little reminder. This is good football. This is good football. These are reminders. Give those reminders with a great attitude and knowing that when they get shot down, it's not personal. It's not personal, right? So I'm going to take this idea to my head coach. He might shoot it down. We might never run this year. And I have to be 100% okay with that. And it doesn't hurt my feelings at all. It doesn't bother me at all. But I've offered that, and the program is being held accountable with these thoughts. Right? Am I wrong there? Am I right? Is that being a good assistant? I have to tell this to our coach because we love to attack tight end side, and we've got a tight end that can run a 10-yard hitch. It's got to have it. Gotta have it. And of course, for me, what would work for us in our system is, number one, you run that 10-yard hitch. I wish I could draw so bad right now. But you take that wing right next to him and you run him vertical, because what that does is that takes the safety. He has to honor the vertical, has to. And the linebacker has to honor the run, and that's this big window in between. Gotta have it. If you like attacking right here, then you need that attack that goes right here behind it, right? Gotta have it. Let's meet Coach Denison. I'm excited to get him on. This guy he's above my level, so I always get nervous. Can I talk ball with these guys? I'll try my best. Let's go meet Coach Denison.
And here we are. Here's Tommy Denison, OC at York University, coming up on year number 1. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this. You guys did just find out that your season is not going to happen this year, which is a crusher. I can't even imagine, and I'm holding out hope that we're okay here, but I don't know now. So that obviously has to change some mood and stuff, but you're still in year number 1 of OC. How much of what you're about to do at York is similar to what you were doing at Toronto, or are you changing the plan at all?
Well, in terms of attacking with a competitive advantage, Nate, yeah, we're going to continue to do that. I mean, whether we run some more outside zone versus inside zone, whether, some of the pass concepts take advantage of what we do, we're going to be a faster team than what we had at Toronto. We've got a little bit more speed on the perimeter, and hopefully we're able to do a little bit better job getting second level in the run game. But I think for the most part, the core concepts that you see, and that attacking with a competitive advantage, with a numeric advantage that we do so often on that film, will continue to show itself.
Well, I love that concept. I've been talking about it a lot since. I talked about it here before I brought you on. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go watch a little film, Coach, and we'll cut out of here in 10, 15 minutes. I know I told you when you first got on, I said, this is going to feel fast. So let's just jump in. So you had just completed, here's what I was talking about last, right here. Can you see my arrow too?
I can, yes, absolutely.
So this is what you've heard these guys, this is like the 3rd time you've hit it. Play action here, and this guy right here just hitches up at about 10, this little hook right behind it. I've been talking about that play because I feel like it's something we need in our offense where I am right now, because it just, if you want to attack here at all, it just holds this guy so accountable. What's he going to do? I mean, he has to honor downhill, and then you just pitch up right behind him. It is so difficult to stop, and you've already heard these guys like 3 of the 6 plays I've seen. You've heard them with that.
Yeah, so we're running inside zone, and we've identified, if you go right back to the beginning of the play and you pause it, if you just do a quick numbers count, I'm not going to tell you go into great detail on how we decide, especially with the American and Canadian differences, but if you look at the field side, we're a distinct 2-on-3, almost 2-on-4 if you include the free safety.
Right.
But to the boundary, we're like a true 3-on-3 over there.
Right.
3-on-2 low, but if you count the high defender over there, we're 3-on-3. And then in the box, we're obviously 5 blockers or 6, including the running back on 6. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that big gap, the defender there, that linebacker, we're going to place him in a bind by attacking him with run, and also attacking him in the hook curl with the hitch right in behind him. So whatever he does, he can't be right. He steps down hard. We throw right in behind his head. And then obviously, this is where numbers comes into play now, because we have that numeric advantage. After he steps down, we're able to get some significant yards after catch. I think one of the things when I talk about numeric advantage with people so often, it becomes this real hard and fast rule of why we always do it. And I think sometimes people think like, well, he said we can't be successful if we attack without a numeric advantage. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, the percentage of success goes down. The average yards per play goes down. Can you stick an amazing throw in a tighter window? Of course you can. But let's make it as easy on our players as we possibly can. And I don't think it gets much easier than this in terms of the throw.
Well, and the other advantage too, I mean, when you add this spike motion to it, these guys have to back off because of the vertical threat. And it just makes that little 8 to 10 yard window. I mean, that's a large, easy window, like you said.
Yeah, there's some trade-offs in the Canadian game, right? We have the ability to influence the line of scrimmage with motion coming downhill. There's a couple trade-offs, and I'll talk about them. One, we only have 3 downs,
right?
So we have to have the opportunity to do something as an offense to spin it back in our advantage a little bit. The other thing is that we have to be careful about is that motion also tips off the defensive line that we're about to snap the ball. So we have to be careful in that as well, because they can time that motion up and get an even quicker speed rush off the edge.
That's true, and that's actually something I remember thinking about that, but I wasn't thinking about that right now. That is an advantage. They're going to get a great get off, which makes pass protection harder.
It does, for sure. The tight's cool because obviously this relates to the American game just as well as it does the Canadian game. There'd be no differences here for either side of the ball. A 6-on-6 is the same.
Right.
We're reading the number 38 here, the linebacker on the left-hand side in the box. Mm-hmm. As you see, as he steps down to defend run, we're pulling off him. Six's eyes, the quarterback's eyes go directly to him, and he's making an RPO decision off of him. Had he blitzed, we would have abandoned the fake altogether. The running back would have stepped up into the B or the A if he came A and picked him up.
Oh, okay. So you have the option of abandoning the fake altogether. I like that.
Yeah. So if they come, we're not going to get stuck, with head and eyes downfield. The back will step up and the quarterback will immediately go to quick game.
Right. All right. Well, that one worked out well, and having that space and that numbers advantage then turns into that big yards after catch. All right, so here you come again. Now, again, I have not seen this film yet. I'm just kind of training myself a little bit here. Over here, the boundary, I see 3 and a clear 3-on-3, and plus potentially some help coming from in here. And over here, you have a 2-on-2, but you look to have more space, and your back is to this side too. For my untrained eye in this, I see a more numbers advantage here. So you talk me through what you're seeing here.
Yeah, so on the previous play, the number 3 defender was splitting the difference between 2 in the box, mm-hmm. which created a deficiency for us at the field. But now that no longer exists. So you're right. We have 2-on-2 to the field. We can still add our back into the field as well, which would create a 3-on-3 if the backer expands. I think that's what ends up happening on this play. I can't completely recall. As we go through it, we'll talk. But the advantage for us in this instance would clearly be to the field.
And you add that back to the field, you end up with a 3-on-3, and you bring this guy from the back side of the formation across as well.
Yeah, so for us, what we do is we're reading high-low, first of all, in the box. So if you actually pause it right here, you can see that we've created the numbers advantage. We're going to read off that Sam backer who's expanded to our running back.
This guy
and
right
it's
here.
Really, if you want to think of this as screen pass option. So we're looking to attack field. Our first step right now is to peek and see, do we get leverage on that number 3 defender? You can see he jumps it very aggressively. Mm-hmm. So we're off that now, and we're high-lowing the Mac backer, who's clearly blitzed. So for us, because he's blitzed, it's told us we're going to get the natural rub. We've got man coverage. We're getting the natural rub from 3-on-2, and we're taking that underneath route right now on the shallow cross. So for us, we're attacking the field. We check, we don't get leverage. They take away leverage from us by chasing that aggressively, therefore giving up numbers in the box. We're high-lowing Mac. He's given us an additional advantage by blitzing and created even more space for us in the box. And now it's an easy pitch and catch to a receiver coming across.
So, and again, I'm a very untrained spread offensive guy, but as I'm looking through this now, so your play is happening here, right? You're stretching here with this guy, reading this man if he expands, and these guys are really just outside releases. We're trying to create space by running them off. Is that really what's happening?
Yeah, so we're outside releasing to turn the eyes of the number 2 and the number 1 defender. So the field, for us, the field half, we call it, be your strong safety in the States, and the corner. Yeah. We're turning their head and eyes. If they had passed off in like a cover 3 situation, mm-hmm. and the number 2 defender, the strong safety, had come down, it would have got cloudy for us, and we would have replaced it with the throw. So as we go to throw that quick out to the back, no longer man, he's giving up leverage. We take that quick out. If the strong safety adds in, makes the throw cloudy from the outside, we take our eyes outside and throw that seam to number 2. Here in Canada, we've got so much space for that. But even in the high school and college game in the States with the wider hash marks, you have space for it too.
So, because that was going to be my next question, would there be a situation where your quarterback would even look at these guys? And so what you're saying is, if this throw to this outside man were to get cloudy by some sort of outside downward leverage, then he knows he then has a seam open behind him.
Yeah, so his eyes will take him. So if you pause it right now, So right now, let's say that Sam didn't chase. Let's say they played true cover 3, and the number 2 defender was curl flat, and the deep number 1 defender was deep third. We would say that we have leverage on the Sam backer, so we would want to throw the back in the flat. But as that strong safety comes down, he's making that throw to the number 3 receiver cloudy from the outside. So we're going to take our eyes and keep repositioning to the outside and throw that seam. So he'll outside release it because we don't want to give him the opportunity to cheat, and then wrap right back around him down the seam. Okay. The number 1 receiver is also going to outside release the corner so that he can't collapse down over the top of the number 2 vertical. So then we wouldn't identify those 2 receivers, Nate, in terms of running a 2 receiver route combination to them. That's a long throw. Something would have to take us there that's giving us a significant advantage.
Right. So this number 2 knows, listen, if this guy runs with me, I don't really even need to expect the ball. But if this guy passes me up to go put support the flat, I need to get my eyes back. This could be coming my way.
Yeah, we use the term triggers. So if he triggers down, we're wrapping right in behind. But you're right, as he carries that vertical route, we'll run him off. We've done the job of blocking him.
Yeah. Okay. Man, I like this, man. Just affecting the way I think through. I think it's important for people to realize. So, I'm kind of just talking to my audience right now. Sometimes you get some newer coaches. I think it's important for people to realize that, I'm a wing T guy, but I and my offense and the way I attack is affected by thinking through these things, regardless of what style of offense I'm watching, right? So like talking through this, speaking through offensively, this is affecting the way I think and the way I approach my own offense. And it's, again, I don't have to be talking to a wing T guy to learn about offense or even to affect my wing T in a positive manner. I think it's important for guys to realize that there are things that we can steal from other coaches. It's concepts in thinking training that's going to affect you, and you can benefit from those things.
Yeah, for sure. So like the numeric advantage, can apply to every type of offense. Like right now we look a lot more like air raid than anything else. And I would say that you could probably find some similarities to the last play to mesh, with the back pushing to the flat, considering that to be the out route. And then obviously the over-under concept that comes in behind it. That's just what our personnel dictated at that school, and maybe perhaps to an extent at the current school that I've taken over at. That said, you could do this out of a triple option. You could do it out of everything. Creating a numeric advantage is always something that's going to give you a positive opportunity.
Well, I've already taken pen to paper through the things that I've done in the past and just kind of looked at I think even when you go back and look at your own offense through the lens of, on this play, did we or did we not attack a numeric advantage, right? Even just reviewing your own game film, take one game, take one half, start there, right? And just review and approach it with that lens. Did we attack with a numeric advantage? I think it really affects you. All right, Coach, let's talk. I think we got time for like 2 more plays. Awesome. I see that you're attacking a B gap here with a run fake, and your quarterback ends up scrambling. It looks like you're trying to go right back to this guy hitching up behind it and putting one of these guys in conflict, but I'll let you kind of talk through it, what we're seeing.
Yeah. So this is week 1, and obviously in this particular case, there's always going to be the odd bust. We're not immune to all those things. You see that in this particular case, the running back does step up and tries to abandon the fake because of the B gap defender blitzing, right? We see him walk down off the edge, and it does actually walks down into C, and it causes them to go inside. Now, obviously the tackle separates and widens, which gives them a free runner right into the B gap. The back steps up, which he should, and we should have the hitch throw right in behind his head. The quarterback, though, unfortunately doesn't recognize it quite as quickly, and he gets locked on reading the RPO. I'm not sure who he's reading because the backer stepped down to C. We should just be pulling and throwing quick game right in behind his head, that hitch to the number 3 receiver.
And he does have it. He just hesitates.
Yeah, he just doesn't see. And again, he did a tremendous job for us. He led the nation in every statistical passing category. He led the nation in yards, threw 24 touchdowns in 8 games. Was fantastic. But again, we're not immune to making mistakes. That was one. If he had just, as you see it here, You see the backer walk down off the edge right there. That should have triggered back off the edge. The tackle steps out. So the back now steps down. You see he does abandon it late. And he comes down and blocks into the B gap. The quarterback should just reset and throw to the number 3 receiver right in behind him.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, he still turns it into something nice. Heck of an athlete.
Because we do have a hat on a hat for everybody in the box. It turns into essentially Q draw for us.
All right, well, let's make this one our last play. I see this guy's about to come off in motion here. You're 3x2, 3 into the boundary. Let me help. I'm kind of practicing my numbers here. They're going 3-on-3 against you to the boundary, plus a stand-up guy here, and I feel like he could get nosy over here. But I see this looks good over here, especially with your back over here and knowing that you can add him in. And just knowing your concept now, too, like this would be a nice situation to push him and do that screen option thing where you read the leverage of this guy and run this behind it. Am I seeing that correctly? And like that's a good.
Well, again, the free safety is really what tips us off here because he's to the boundary again. So that gives us, as you said, that true 2-on-2 to the field, which is again what we crave, all that space. Again, we push our back to the flat. We get the situation here where obviously they chase again, so we should be high-low off the backer. A couple things, again, little things that we did better as the season went on. You can see our number 2 receiver to the boundary. When he runs his dig here, he's in a really good position. He just doesn't snap his dig off hard enough, and he's drifting all the way up to the free safety. So that was a correctable note for us. Actually, earlier in the game, we ran this, and we had this situation similar then where he drifted again. He got away with it. As the game developed, obviously, the more times somebody sees something, they're going to be able to react to it. So this is a combination of, one, the free safety reacting, coming back to the 3 receiver side, and us drifting. Had we not drifted here, we would have had a tremendous play. So these were some correctable opportunities for us. But for us, again, the exact same play as before. Our back is releasing to the flat. The Sam has chased him. So we're now high-low off the Mac, who jumps down on the shallow cross this time instead of blitzing, which gives us the deep dig in behind it.
Right.
Again, he's not drifting here. We drift, I'd say, if you go back, we start our speed cut at 10 yards right there, and we drifted almost to 16 yards. So we're 6 yards more vertical than we should be in that particular situation, which causes us not to be successful.
And I talked about before I brought you on, I said what I love about this, or even just this style of attack is, at least, and it can go for a lot of styles of attack, but when you've clearly identified an offensive philosophy, it helps you to troubleshoot that as well, right? And so now, as you said, we're high-low in this Mac, but we can't high-low him so high that we allow the next defender then to affect it, right? We've got to make sure he's low enough to not be to not allow that free safety into the play. And again, I'm mostly just repeating what you're saying, but just thinking through it myself. Again, all these things, they're identifiable. It's troubleshootable. I know that's not a real word, but I love thinking through offense in that way, going, if it's troubleshootable, this is something in game I can find and fix. And that's what I like having.
Yeah, for sure, Nate. And I'll say, like, when, this would be something that the quarterback would correct. Obviously, we got the benefit of a penalty there, and we moved up 15 yards, but we would have corrected that with our quarterback. Like, again, this is about empowerment with our players. We teach, we empower, and we give them the tools to be able to correct things in real time. So that would have been corrected on the field by the quarterback saying, hey, stop drifting. We got to make sure that we're at 10 to 12. It would have been repeated when he came to the sidelines by our positional coach, who would have been discussing it with me at the time. And then when we got together in a group atmosphere before we went back out, that would have been one more correctable that I would have spoke to. Then after the game, obviously, when we break down film and analysis, that would have been a play that would have been on our corrections list for sure.
Man, well, I'm going to unshare my screen. Coach, is so thankful to have you. I want everybody to look you up, Instagram or Twitter, at Tommy Denison4. Look him up. Coach, any closing thoughts? Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you get through this non-season thing, and I'm going to pray that idea does not travel south.
I hope so, too. And yeah, I'm a big fan of Chief Pigskin and love coming on and really enjoy what you're doing here. And thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Hey, are coaches okay to reach out to you and pick your brain? I love the way you think, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Reach out on social media. My email address, tdenison@yorku.ca as well. Always happy to reach out, make connections, and help in any way, whether it be in a spread offense that you run, or even if it's something a little different. I'm always interested in seeing how numbers and leverage apply to different offenses and formations.
Well, Coach, again, thanks for joining us. I've kept it no secret how excited I am about this concept, about thinking through what I like to do, what we're doing as a team this year through this lens. Look him up, guys. Give him a follow on both platforms, or either platform, whatever you're on, and check us out. Hey, like, subscribe. Those things help on the channel, and we'll catch you next week right here. Where am I? On YouTube. That's an odd ending, but hey, life is what it is. We'll see you next week.